Welcome to Studio Rijn online, and this practice will be a short Yang Yin practice. So, especially for the Yin part of the practice, it would be nice if you could grab yourself maybe even a belt. If you have a yoga strap or a yoga belt, that's perfect, but you can also use a regular belt that you use at home for your pants. It's great if you can grab like 1 or 2 blankets neatly folded to get a little bit more support. Maybe you have a cushion or a pillow, maybe just a pillow from the couch or a pillow from the bench. And then you have enough materials to get enough support for the Yin postures. So maybe you have a yoga block, so then you can grab your block or maybe a blanket, find something to sit on. And this way you can raise the hips over the knees, allow the knees to sink down into the mat. If you don't have a block, maybe a big book, this will also do so. We're going to start by chanting 3 times Om. So let's see if you can close the eyes and then unite the hand palms in front of the heart space. And wherever you are in your breath, just take a deep exhale, breathing out. Release the belly. Take a long and deep breath in into the chest. Breathing in softly and steadily. Taking one more breath in. Then you can bow your head towards the fingertips, toward the heart space, and dedicate your practice. Or maybe just finding an intention for today's practice. And when you're done with the dedication, you can slowly bring your head back up, rest your hands upon the thighs, and blink open the eyes. Remove the block or the book from underneath the sitting bones. And just come and straighten out your legs, giving your legs a good shake. Shake them out and maybe also shake out your wrists. Just get a little bit of movement into the body. And then you can swing your legs around, step the feet hip width. And first bring your fingertips behind you, fingers pointing away from you, walking your feet, sitting heels towards the sitting bones. Then you can slowly come stand on the toes, circling your arms around the knees, hooking your elbows against the outer knees and really straightening the spine up all the way from the sitting bones. Then softly walking your toes a little bit more in towards the sitting bones, lifting one foot off the mat and then lifting the other foot off the mat. And then finding your cosmic egg. Maybe even lowering your forehead towards the knees. And you can also close the eyes. Engage the shoulder blades a little bit more actively down the upper back. And start noticing this balance in this cosmic egg. Maybe there's a moment of imbalance and you fall out, then you just get back in again. And maybe at some point you can find a little bit more stillness in the posture. Maybe even sensing the less you do, the easier it gets. And we're going to stay here for 3 more breaths. See if you can inhale into the back of the body. On the exhale, maybe drawing the belly a little bit more actively in. Let's do 2 more breaths. And see if you can really take your time. And then is 1 more inhale. And a good exhale. Gently blink open the eyes, stay seated on the sitting bones, release your arms, fingertips pointing forward. Start lifting your legs. If you want, you can grab the back of the thighs and you can stay here. Or maybe you want to lengthen your legs up, releasing the arms, hand palms open towards the ceiling. So this is Navasana boat pose. This is quite a posture for warming up the body. So see if you can draw the belly in and up, and then energetically reaching your fingertips out, at the same time drawing the shoulder blades actively down the upper back. Draw your toes towards the nose. We're staying here for 3 more breaths, so stay with me. Have a good inhale. Actively press your heels away and breathe it out. Activate the belly. Breathing in and out. And let's do 1 more inhale and exhale. And then you can cross your ankles, grab the outsides of the feet, roll over on hands and knees. So make sure you have the correct alignment. So bring your wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And if you look through your legs, you cannot see your feet. So if you see your feet, you can correct it. Then gently tucking the toes on the mat, getting ready for downward facing dog. See if you can start the movement by pressing the hands forward and down into the mat, really lengthening the arms. Then bringing the upper body all the way up and back. So lengthen all the way up to the sitting bones. And then finding downward facing dog. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhale and exhale. Next inhale, bring the shoulders forward to a high push-up plank. Draw the belly in, tailbone down. And then bring the knees to the mat. Lower the whole body down to the mat. Point your toes away on the inhale, bringing the chest forward and up. Cobra Bhujangasana. Exhaling back to the mat. Inhale, bring your knees underneath the hips, tucking the toes under, and ease back into downward facing dog. Maybe bending one knee and bending the other knee. And slowly finding some stillness in downward facing dog. Staying here for 1 more breath, sitting bones high up to the ceiling. When the exhale comes, you can bend both of your knees, look in between the hands. And slowly but steadily, maybe heels touching the mat first. You're going to walk forward and step your feet hip width behind your hands. Bending the knees really, really deep. Releasing the upper body upon the thighs. Releasing the neck. And releasing your arms. Just maybe flutter your lips. Shake your head yes and no. And then slowly but steadily press the soles of the feet into the mat. From the feet, pressing yourself up to stand. Rolling up vertebra by vertebra, coming up to stand, and it's the head coming up last. And then come stand at the top of your mat. We're going to do a short Surya A to warm up, sun salutations, before we practice, go to the yin part of practice. So you can step the feet together, connecting the big toes. Heels are slightly apart. Now have a look. You want to bring your upper thigh bones a little bit more back by activating the upper thigh muscles. So usually we tend to lean a little bit forward. Bring them back to find the balance. Hands in front of the heart. Have a good exhale, breathing out. On the inhale, circle your arms up, lengthen out. Exhale, folding forward from the hips. Come high on the fingertips. On the inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, step the left foot back. Big step for a deep lunge. Open up your shoulders, lengthen your back heel away. Stepping the right foot back to downward facing dog. Staying here for one breath, breathing in. On the exhale, draw the belly in and up. Inhale, come forward with the shoulders to a high push-up plank. Exhale, lower the whole body down to the mat. On your inhale, coming up with the chest for cobra, point your toes away. Exhaling back to the mat. Breathing in, draw your knees underneath the hips. And then tucking the toes for downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. Spreading the fingers really wide, breathing in. And breathing out. Inhale one more time. And exhale. Inhaling the right leg high. Exhale, step the right foot forward in between the hands. The left foot follows, come high on the fingertips. Exhale, draw the belly in, Uttanasana. Inhale, strong legs, circle the arms up, stretch it out. And exhaling, hands in front of the heart. Keep on going. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, diving forward from the hips. Come high on the fingertips on the inhale. On the exhale, stepping the right foot back. Big step for a deep lunge. Press your right heel back. Then step the left foot back for downward facing dog. Come forward for a high push-up plank. And with a strong belly, lower the body down to the mat. Inhale, Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Keep the elbows into the ribs and exhaling. Inhaling, finding your way back to downward facing dog. Breathing in and exhale. Inhale here and breathe it out. One more breath. Inhale and exhale. On the inhale, lifting up the left leg, stretch it out. Exhale, step the left foot in between the hands. The right foot follows, come high on the fingertips, folding forward and down, Uttanasana. Inhale, circle the arms up, stretch it out. And exhaling, hands in front of the heart. Breathing in, circle the arms up. Exhale, diving forward and down. Ardha Uttanasana on the inhale, long spine. If you want, you can jump back to low plank Chaturanga Dandasana. Rolling over the toes to upward facing dog. And gently back to downward facing dog. Breathing in. And exhale. Inhale. And breathe it out. One more breath in. And exhale, bending the knees. Look forward on the inhale. Jumping your feet in between the hands. Lengthen your legs. Folding forward. Inhale, strong legs. Circle the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. One more round. Inhale, big circle. And exhale, flying forward. On the inhale, come high on the fingertips, lengthen the spine. Exhale, step back to down dog or jump back to low plank Chaturanga. From low plank coming to upward facing dog, Urdhva Exhaling back to downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale and breathe it out. Inhale. On the exhale, you can open up your mouth and just breathe it out. Breathing in. Exhaling, bending the knees deeply. Activate the belly. And gently jumping forward. Lengthening your legs. Exhale, folding forward. On the inhale, slowly circling the arms up. Stretch it out. And then exhaling, hands in front of the heart. shaking out your legs and shaking out the wrists. And now you're probably warmed up a little bit after this Surya A, sun salutations. And you're warmed up enough to get ready for the yin part of practice. So let's start by swinging the legs around, bringing your knees out as wide as the mat, big toes touching, and then bringing your sitting bones to the heels. And you can lengthen your arms forward, or maybe you want to lengthen your arms back. And after all this movement, it can be really nice to turn into the silence, tune into that silence, that stillness. And not really doing anymore, but just being here, right now. So if you feel that it's a bit difficult to release some tension in Balasana, child's pose, because the sitting bones are a bit high up from the heels, then you can grab maybe one of your blankets and place the blanket in between the sitting bones and the heels, and maybe this way it's a little bit easier to sink into the posture. So maybe you feel a bit of strain or tension in between the shoulder blades. And then you can gently walk your hands maybe a little bit more out to the sides if you have your arms lengthened forwards. Create a little bit more opening in between the shoulder blades. And gently tune into your breath. And with each inhale, you can sense the upper back broadening. Each exhale allowing you to release down, grounding down a little bit more. And whenever you get distracted by all kinds of thoughts in your head, all kinds of stories, see if you can return to the breath, just following the inhales, creating space in the body, and the exhales, allowing you to release. And then we're staying here for 3 more breaths. And 2. And then 1 more breath. Maybe lengthen your exhale a little bit more. And on the inhale, you can slowly bring the head up. Walk your hands towards the knees. And come and have a quick look, because we're going to come into frog pose. And this is quite an intense opener of the inner groins. So you can practice this pose in 3 variations. So it's good to have a blanket nearby. Maybe fold your blanket out quite wide. Place the blanket in the middle of your yoga mat. Make sure it's neatly folded, not too much wrinkles. And then you can place your knees on the blanket and come to a really wide child's pose. So like we just did, big toes touching together, but now the knees are out more widely to the side. So this is the first variation for frog pose. If you feel that you might have a little bit more space in the body today, you can bring the sitting bones up, aligning the hips over the knees. And then see if you can come and lean forward on the forearms, or maybe even walking your arms all the way forward. So if this is too much strain in between the shoulders, you can grab yourself a cushion, a pillow, place it in front of you and maybe come forward over the pillow. And then the third variation, this is actually for most people the most intense one, is the one where you have your knees out wide and then you align your ankles with the knees. And why is this called frog pose? Because in this third variation you are also bringing your feet out to the sides. Yeah, so we have these little frog feet. And then you want to fold forward onto the mat. Always take a couple of breaths just to check in with the body. After a couple of breaths, maybe you notice that you can slide the knees out to the sides even a little bit more. If you would like to create even more intensity, then you can bring the hips even a little bit more back. And that's really quite something. So make sure to stay with what's happening in the body today, right here, right now. Not wishing that you would achieve something in the posture or maybe arrive at a point where you want to go, but just stay with the possibilities of the body today. And as you know, in the yin practice, we stay a lot longer in each posture. And it's also because we're working on the deeper layers in the body. So you can feel maybe an intense stretch in the groin area and the inner thighs. And if you feel that you're really struggling right now, if you feel that the breath gets really shallow or wobbly, maybe back out of the posture a little bit. It's always a thin line in between forcing the body. This is what you not want to do, or maybe just challenging the body a little bit. A bit of challenge can be good, mentally, physically, but you don't want to force it. So we're staying here for 1 more minute. And whenever you start to attach yourself to storylines inside your head, just return to the breath. And sometimes it can help to maybe start counting your breath, counting the inhales and counting the exhales. And maybe you just want to lengthen your exhales to allow the body to sink in a little bit deeper. So we're staying here for 10 more breaths. And 9. Eight more breaths. And 7. 6 more breaths. And 5. Release the muscles of the face. Release the trigger points behind your jaws. Let's do 3 more breaths. And 2. 1 more breath. 1 long exhale. Then on the inhale, moving very consciously and slowly bring the head up. And then gently walking your hands a little bit towards the upper body. Press yourself a little bit more up on the elbows and start bringing the knees in towards the midline of the mat. And then we're going to come to a really small child's pose. So connecting your knees together and connecting the heels together. And then you gently press the upper body back, sitting bones towards the heels, forehead onto the mat, and maybe you want to lengthen both of your arms out wide to the front, or maybe you want to bring the arms back. Take some time to feel the after effects of the posture. And of course, this yin practice is not just a physical practice. So yes, we're working on different physical layers of the body. Yes, addressing the fascia, the connective tissue. But we're also working on the mental, emotional level of the body. And this is why this yin practice doesn't look so dynamic, maybe like a vinyasa flow practice. But on the inside, there's a lot going on. On your next inhale, you can slowly bring your arms back forward if you have them back. Come on the fingertips and gently press the upper body up. Take some time to come and sit up. And now you can remove the blanket from your yoga mat. And come sit in the middle of the mat, stand on your knees. Start bringing the right knee towards the midline of the mat. Bring the left leg a little bit back and see if you can bring the right foot to the left outside of the mat. Then gently bringing your left knee to the inner right knee, bringing the left foot to the right outside of the mat, and slowly pressing yourself back, finding a seated position. In the yin practice, we call this shoelace. If you have a vinyasa flow practice, you might know this posture as Gomukhasana. So if you feel that there's a lot of strain in the posture, and especially if you feel that you cannot root your sitting bones down onto the mat, then lean a little bit backwards on the fingertips and then lengthen your left leg forward. And you also want to have as little space as possible in between the upper knee and the lower knee. So maybe stay here for half shoelace, or maybe come to the full posture. And then see wherever you are, if you can really gently come to a forward fold. Just experience the pose for the first couple of breaths. Take your time and then see what needs to be done to adjust the pose. Use some props to create as little tension as possible into the body and into the mind. So maybe if you have your left leg forward and you feel a lot of pressure underneath that left knee, on the back side of the knee, you can roll up a blanket and place it underneath that front knee, and then slowly folding forward again. If you feel some tension in the upper knee, in the right knee, then you can maybe place a blanket underneath that right knee just to soften the pose a little bit. So if you're used to the yang practice a little bit more, the active vinyasa flow practice, you're probably used to using the muscles in a lot of ways, in all kinds of postures. But in the yin practice, you want to let go as much as possible of any muscular activity. So see if you can let go of the foot, just let it go wherever it wants to go. You don't have to press your hands actively into the mat. You don't have to worry too much about correct alignment. You can just follow the breath and see wherever the body wants to fold. Just using the breath to find a bit more depth in the posture. So if you have your front knee bent, then you probably would sense quite an intense stretch on the outsides of both of your hips. If you have your front leg straightened out in front of you, the left leg, then maybe you find quite an intense stretch in the back of that leg, in the hamstrings area. And maybe see if you can direct your breath and your awareness to those spots in the body where you experience a little bit of tension. And then stay here for one more minute. You don't have to worry about keeping track of time, because I will let you know when it's time to come out. Let's see if you can fully release the neck. And if you're straining a bit, if you're still keeping the head up a little bit, maybe you want to place something underneath the forehead, maybe making 2 fists out of your hands, allowing the forehead to rest, releasing the neck, lengthening the spine in the back of the body. And if you're holding a bit of tension in the shoulder area, and consciously release the shoulder blades down the upper back. Maybe breathe into that area a little bit more. So we're staying here for 3 more breaths. If you're familiar with Ujjayi breathing, ocean breath in the back of the throat, you can apply a soft Ujjayi in these yin postures. 1 more breath. On the next inhale, gently placing the hands on the mat, slowly coming out of the posture, pressing yourself up. And then you want to lengthen both of your legs. Maybe shake them out a little bit. Recline a little bit backwards on your hands, fingertips pointing back. And then gently swaying both of your legs from left to right. And then we're going to go to the other side. So we're going to swing the legs around, come to all fours again, hands and knees. This time you want to bring the right knee to the midline of the mat. Oh no, it's the left side. Left knee to the midline of the mat. Bring the right leg a little bit back. Then bring the left foot to the right outside of the mat. Gently pulling your right knee to the inner left knee, bringing the right foot to the left outside of the mat. And always give yourself the opportunity to check out what's happening on this side, the posture in this side of the body, because this can vary a lot. So the right side of the body might be a little bit more open than the left side. So listen to your body and then see what you have to do to have as little tension as possible in the posture. So maybe this means come sitting on a block to elevate the hips. Yeah, come sit on a little bit of height, and now you might see that your knees are coming closer together. Or maybe this means lengthening your right leg forward. And then see if you can release all the muscles and just ease into the forward fold. Maybe supporting the head by bringing two fists on top of each other, resting your forehead on the fists. Maybe grabbing yourself a cushion, placing it in front of you and hand palms open. Maybe you can rest the forehead onto the cushion. So this whole practice of yoga is not about getting anywhere. It's just about being here, right now. And I think we all know that this is a lot more difficult than it might seem. And this is also because our mind is always either in the future, thinking about our task lists, things we need to do tomorrow or next month or next year, and then the mind is also a lot of the times in the past, retelling tales from the past, memories, thinking about that conversation that you've just had. So the mind is actually almost never right here, right now, and this is why we work with the body. So we're staying here for 1 full minute. Giving the body time to open up. And giving the mind time to rest. Again, if you feel any tension coming up anywhere in the body, directing your breath there. And if the mind is restless, pulling you into the past or the future over and over again, then don't push that away, but just acknowledge that it's happening and then gently turn your awareness back to the breath. Maybe counting the breath, maybe lengthening your breath. And we're staying here for 3 more breaths. And 2. And then 1 more breath. And gently, if you have your eyes closed, you can open up your eyes, slowly coming out of the posture, putting any props that you've used aside. Again, reclining a little bit backwards on the fingertips pointing back, lengthening both of your legs, and just start the movement from the hips. And just turning your legs a little bit from left to right. Or maybe just make a movement that you feel is good for the body right now. You can shake out your ankles. And then gently recline backwards, come lie down on your mat, making slow and deliberate movements. Stepping your feet as wide as the mat, lengthening your arms out to the side on shoulder height. And then when your exhale comes, you're going to drop both of your knees to the left, leave your feet where they are. On the inhale, you can bring the knees up. Exhaling both of your knees to the right. If you want to deepen the twist, you can move your head as well. So inhale the knees up. On the exhale, knees to the left, look right. Then inhaling the knees up. Knees to the right, look left. Inhale your knees up. And then do this a couple of times in your own tempo. Maybe you want to stay a couple of breaths on each side. Breathing into the twist. And if you want to change sides, just gently bring the knees up on the inhale and then exhale the knees to the other side. And maybe even, if the neck allows, bring the head to the other side. And you can keep your eyes open, or maybe you want to close the eyes. And then on the next inhale, you can bring both of your knees up. And you can lengthen your left leg forward. You can bring the right knee into the chest, bring both of your hands on the top of the knee. And then gently bringing the left hand to the outside of the right knee. Bringing that right knee to the left. Looking right for the twist. So if your right knee has a lot of distance to the floor, it can be really nice to place something underneath. Maybe a blanket or a cushion. And as soon as your knee feels the connection to the blanket, to the earth, it's easier to release down. Staying here for the twist. If you want to deepen the pose a little bit, turn it into a small back bend. And you can bend the left knee, grabbing hold of the left inner ankle. And then slowly lie back down again. See if you can keep the fingers soft. And keep the face soft. And stay here for 5 more breaths in your own tempo. And then after your 5th breath, slowly come to the other side. So if you have your left knee bent, slowly straighten that leg again. Rolling onto the back, stepping the right foot onto the mat. Bending the left knee in, stepping the left foot onto the mat, and then lengthening the right leg forward. And gently grabbing that left knee, pulling it a bit towards the chest. And then holding that left knee with the right hand on the outside. Gently turning towards the right with that left knee. And again, checking out if you want to support that left knee, maybe with a blanket or a cushion or a block or a book. And feel the posture for the first couple of breaths. And then maybe you want to intensify, bending the right knee, grabbing the right inner ankle, and recline backwards again. And sometimes we have the tendency to pull the body in all sorts of postures because we want to go somewhere with the body. Then we're straining the fingers and we're applying pressure. So see if you can avoid straining the fingers, keeping the fingers soft and round. Stay here for 5 more breaths. Just count your breaths for yourself. Then after your fifth breath, after the exhale, if you have your right leg bent, slowly releasing that right leg, stretching it out, rolling over to the back of the body, and preparing yourself for Shavasana. So make sure you stay warm. Maybe you want to put on a sweater or grab yourself a blanket, cover yourself with the blanket. Maybe you want to put on some socks and making sure you're really, really comfortable in your Shavasana. See if you can really take in some space by bringing the feet out maybe a little wider than you would normally do. Maybe bring the arms out a little bit wider to the side, hand palms open towards the ceiling. On your next inhale, you can take a bit deep and long inhale. Lengthen the inhale. When your exhale comes, you can open up your mouth and releasing down. Allowing the body to be carried by the earth underneath you. Finding Shavasana. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And slowly come back to the surface of the body. And very softly and gently you can move your fingers, wiggle the fingers. Make small movements with the toes, maybe circling the ankles, circling the feet. If you want, you can lengthen your arms overhead, interlace the fingers, and then on the exhale, lengthen the whole body, pressing the heels away. And gently releasing the arms alongside the body, bending the knees, stepping the feet onto the mat, rolling over to the right side of the body. And stay there for a couple of breaths. Keeping your eyes closed. And then you can slowly press yourself up, pressing the left hand into the mat or onto the floor. And finding your seat. So to stay warm, maybe it's nice to cover yourself with the blanket. See if you can find a block or a cushion. Come to a seated position, lifting the hips over the knees. And when you found your seat, just close the eyes again. For a couple of breaths, just sense maybe a little opening of the body because of the practice. Maybe there's a bit more calmness. And take your time to get out of practice. You can gently blink open the eyes. And thank you so much for joining the practice. And thank yourself for joining. And of course, I hope to see you online for one of the Yang Yin classes at Studio Rijn online. Namaste.